Got several folks registered, so we've got a couple coming in now. So we're just going to give them maybe another couple minutes before we get started. I promise this will be just like, if you remember the 30-minute guarantee with Domino's Pizza, we're going to be even faster than that. We'll have everyone out of here before 6:30, I promise.
Hey Shane,
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and you?
Good to see you. I'm
You
doing great.
too.
I'm glad you're walking. Yeah, you never know on the slopes.
I'll tell you, I took a pretty hard fall. I'm I am walking. I'm okay, but I am a bit stiff today.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I did. I came off a run, and there was supposed to be like a sharp left, um, and it's kind of a not a very steep trail. So I was trying to keep my speed up as I came down off the run. But I hit a bump that kind of knocked me off balance a little bit, so I wasn't able to make the turn, and I went into some powder, some deep powder, and then there was a trench or a dip, that I couldn't really see. And when I hit it, my skis stopped, and I landed about 15 feet away from where my skis stopped.
oh wow.
So, yeah, and I kind of landed on my head a little bit. So all is well, but yeah, I'm a little stiff in my neck and shoulders. But
Well, good deal. We're gonna give everyone maybe another minute and a half before we kick off here. Just since it's 6 o'clock, now we got some folks in San Antonio, some in the DFW Metro, and some other places that have fun traffic this time of day. So hopefully everyone can get in that needs to be. But we'll also be recording this and sending that out to everybody if you'd like to view it again. So.
right.
And if you think about it, all that traffic's really a good thing for us, given that more traffic means more people. More people, that's better for business for us.
Yeah, I like the way you think.
More people, more stuff.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Probably not skis and poles down here, though.
Probably not so much.
Well, I'm sure you've seen those Ski Texas
The value
posters, Brian.
can't go anywhere else to win. It's a
I
balancing
tell you, the ski trips that we took from Houston back in the day was when I was actually able to become
future.
a better skier. Because
Okay.
we would ski like 3 out of 5 days.
Getting more.
All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started here. Let me unshare that. I want to welcome everyone to the webinar we're having for the KO Self-Storage 506C investment opportunity. KO is located in Cleburne, Texas, which is part of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. And we've got a couple other properties, one just right down the road, 30 minutes away. So this is, and they're doing very well. So this is an area that we're very familiar with, very excited about. We're really excited about this opportunity. We're going to go through our pitch deck tonight. If you do have any questions, please put those in the chat as you think about them, because we will come back to those once we've gone through everything, and we'll stay as long as we need to answer your questions. But the main portion of our presentation for you will be finished in about 20 minutes. I do want to introduce some very important people on our team who've been involved in bringing you here tonight. Matt Teifke, you'll give us a wave, introduce yourself, Matt.
Hey everybody, Matthew here, and yeah, I'm excited to be part of this team. I have all different assets. I have some storage in South Texas, but I'm excited about this deal and the team that's here, and I appreciate everybody making time this evening to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Brian Plimmer is also a very important person on this team. I've already heard about his fabulous skiing skills. Brian, you want to add anything else?
No, I just wanted to welcome everybody, and I hope y'all are as excited about this deal as we are. And we think it's a tremendous opportunity, and really looking forward to bringing as many people on board as we can get. So,
We also have Brian Deering, and it looked like Brian might be at a baseball game or something. So I don't know if
Yeah, I'm actually at my son's practice right now. I just want to say, hey, welcome everyone. We're excited to share this opportunity with you. And yeah, without further ado, let's
yeah.
get started.
I don't think Jennifer Boble's on this call right now. She may be have fallen victim to that San Antonio traffic. And then Mandy Mountain is also on Matt's team. Don't know if you want to say hi, Mandy, but we appreciate you being on here tonight too.
Sure, you bet. I really appreciate being here. I'm on a walk, so I won't be on the video, but super excited to be on the team. And I'm just excited about this location. It's such great product. And so I think it's just going to be a great project for everyone.
All right. Well, let's dive right into it then. I want to introduce another really important person, and that's my son, Bryce Boring. Boring Co. It's everyone in the family works together, and Bryce has spent quite a bit of time on this deal. If you want to say hello real quick, Bryce, before we dive into it.
Hey, everyone, I am the oldest of the kids at Boring and Co. So I've been working with my parents the longest, just by that nature. But it's a good time.
Yep. So you may hear Bryce say my mom or my dad. That's how we operate here. That's how we talk. So family business. All right. So why does this pauses my screen sharing? I'm sorry. This happened last time. All right, there we go. Just a quick bit of housekeeping before we get into it. This is a 506C opportunity. We play by the rules with the SEC. If you want to see anything, we're fully transparent. I'm not going to read this disclaimer to you, but with any investment, we encourage everyone to do more than their due diligence, really look into it and make sure it's the right fit for you. Okay. All right, we're going to talk about the property tonight, talk about the great financial analysis, what makes it a great deal, and also the market, what really sets this market up for some great growth. And then we're going to answer any questions that you have. So, as far as the property, Bryce, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it from here, okay?
Yeah. So this property, we're acquiring it at a purchase price of 6.45 million, and it's 90,000 square feet of non-climate storage, and another 1,500 square feet of a single triple net office. So we get a little bit of both, which is cool. But the thing that I really like about this is the fact that all of that storage is non-climate drive up, and the unit count specifically is heavily weighted toward the most in-demand units, like your 10 by 10s, 10 by 20s, 10 by 15s. So alongside that, it's also very visible. It's right on the side of the highway, and this highway in particular is has about 15 or 16,000 people driving past it per day. And if you just keep on going up toward the east for about 30 minutes, you'll find your way at one of our other facilities in the South DFW area.
Yeah. There's a lot of buzz with DFW for investment opportunities. The north is real active. We found that that's quite a bit oversaturated and overpriced. We really like south of Dallas right now. There's a lot of great things happening. You can see on the map here, as Bryce was saying, it's right on Highway 67, and there's just a lot of activity coming here. Plus, this is a beautiful Class A storage facility. And just looking at some of the photos of it here, it was really done very nicely. And it's laid out very well. It's easy to get in, get out, and tenants seem to love it. Let's go ahead and dig into the financials, Bryce. Let's look at our pro forma assumptions.
So what we plan on doing with this facility is taking one that is already at a great unit occupancy, but struggling economically, and giving away some of that unit occupancy for maintaining better economic occupancy. All that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to be raising rates pretty steadily over the course of 5 years, and we are willing to trade a little bit of the physical occupancy to do that. And what you can see here is that it's about 8% every single year. The reason why we think this is something we're capable of is that the average rental rate for storage in Texas goes up by about 6 to 9% every 6 to 9 months. And we're thinking just a little bit short of that, right? This is 8% a year is almost the inflation increase, if you will. So it's very low increases. And what it will allow for is that even if our competitors don't raise rents at all, we will be able to start hitting their rates, which are about 16% higher, only after year 2 of our business plan. So I don't think that they're not going to increase rates, but even if they do, we're going to be 2 years into our plan, and no one doesn't increase rates for 5 years straight. Now, what this all means is that we're going to be buying this facility at a great per square foot cost, and then being able to flip it later down the road for a price based off of a much stronger level of income.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the occupancy here, right, at 84%, and why we're shooting at that. I'd like you to go in a little more detail there, because I can't remember if you talked about what the DFW average is and the Texas average.
No, I'm not. So the reason why we're choosing 84% for the economic occupancy here is that 84% is the U.S. national average. And frankly, I think that we should never strive to be anything, average at all, right? We should always try to be better than that. But our numbers are based off of us not being able to do better. Now, the great thing about this is that the Texas market is actually experiencing about 86% occupancy. And the DFW average, which is backed up, also by our own anecdotal evidence, is sitting around 88%, where the facility we're talking about down the road is actually at almost 92% occupied. So we think that it's very much possible that we can beat this 84%. But what we're doing is we're basing all of our numbers on it, so that whenever we do achieve better, it's only icing on the cake. It's not something that we are relying on.
All right. Let's dig into the unit mix and talk about, you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. And before you dive into this, the properties that we have in this area, what we have noticed is that, our 10 by 20s, they're gone like that. When we're looking at how we can expand our facilities, that's the unit type that we're looking to add more of. And this facility offers a substantial inventory of the most popular. So let's dive into that a little bit deeper, Bryce, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, like I said, we are getting a facility where the most desired units are the ones that are by far the most common. And if you look at what everyone across the board will use, they use 5 by 10, 10 by 10, 10 by 15, 20, and 30. And if you take those units, those make up over 84% of our property. So the most in-demand units are making up the vast majority. And then we have some other slightly less desirable units as well, filling it in, rather than those weird 6 by 6 or 6.6 by 11 units or 8 by 5. And so we don't have weird units here. And we think it will help us maintain a very strong occupancy, which is something that for a property of this size, really the fact that it's all very standardized is uncommon.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at the investor economics then, Bryce, and just kind of dig into what people can expect.
So I am going to first direct everyone down to the pro forma, which is the bottom half of the page here, because I think what it will do is help make the top half of the page make a little more sense. So what you can see is we're starting off at that 67% economic occupancy. And the reason why we use that is because that's what the property's making. We don't really care too much about how many people are in it, because at the end of the day, this is a business, and a business's success is determined by the cash flow, not by how many people you're servicing. So what we're seeing here is that as we achieve that 84% at the end of the year, we're starting to see a sort of gentle increase that is both sustainable and strong throughout the course of the hold. And because of that, even though we're also going to be seeing our expenses rise by about 3 to 4% per expense in each year, the expense ratio is going down, our NOI is going up, our debt service coverage ratio is going up, and the cash flow is going up. Now, what all that means is that, once we get this equity infusion of around 2.5 in this scenario, this all can change a little bit depending on what debt product we go with, but this is somewhere in the middle of what we're seeing. We can get somewhere in the ballpark of a 20% IRR, a 2.4x equity multiple, and a cash on cash somewhere around 8.3%.
Like those numbers?
I do too.
All right, so let's look at an investment example. And here, the investment example we have is the full amount, which we never turn anyone away that wants to fund the whole deal. But I haven't run into anyone that wants to do that yet. So why don't you break it down for us, Bryce?
Yeah. The great thing about it is that these percentages work whenever you use a $100,000 example pretty well too. So if you're going with a $100,000 investment, you can expect a cash on cash return somewhere around 2.7% year one, 6.51% or $6,500 year two, going on to $8,500, about 11,000, and then 13,000 in year 5. Now, all that's really great. Hopefully we can beat this. But the cool thing is that our last 2 facilities that we've closed on, we have started delivering that cash flow month 3, and we've been delivering it every month since. So that's something that we really love storage for, is that cash flow ability. And we hope to bring it here as well. Now, that being said, the great thing about this is also we're going to bring a whole lot of value to the management of this property. And by the end of the hold, we're going to hopefully sell it for quite a bit more than we got it. And that share of the asset sale plus the initial investment is going to bring a total return of nearly $6 million by the current numbers that we see, which is about 2.4x.
All right, so let's kind of dig in more to the market now, and why we like the market to help us with these growth numbers, right? Cleburne, if you didn't know, Cleburne is very famous for the Gone with the Wind Museum. But it's got a lot more going for it than that. And what we really like are the demographics, because there's something that really sticks out that shows us this is a great market that's really poised for long-term steady growth. Enlighten us on that, Bryce, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So one thing that we really like about this property is the city of Cleburne, and how Cleburne itself has about a $10,000 higher median income than the US at around $75,000. In some areas, it's a little bit better. But the really cool thing about this is that Cleburne is filled with young families starting their families. And You can see that because they have an average age of 4 years less than the US average. So what this means is that we have high income earning families that are getting their start and planning to, take roots there for a long time. And you can also see that further through the planned development that's going on around Cleburne, right? We're seeing a lot of extra commercial building that's going on, a lot of extra homes being built. But one of the things that's always a good standard of growth is we're seeing a lot of money being put into the educational development around Cleburne, which I think is around $175 million right now is what it's slated at. So these are numbers that we could potentially be seeing, Cleburne making a similar jump that Godley is making, which is a town right up the road the other way, where they're going from a 3A school to a 5A or 6A even. And those are graduating class differences of around 500 to 1,000 kids. So imagine what that kind of growth every single year looks like down the road. This is a very hot city in the making.
Yeah, if you're familiar with what happened in Plano, Frisco, Allen, right, over the last 20 years, it looks very similar to that. So we're really excited to be in this area. Now, when we look at our competitors, right, this is also really, really, really good news for investors because what we do not have in Cleburne is a REIT presence, Extra Space, CubeSmart, those guys. We've got pretty much mom and pop, right, Bryce?
Yeah. Almost exclusively mom and pop the entire way through. You have to go up to Burleson or over to Mansfield or Midlothian really to start seeing your first REIT competition. And all of those are at least about 15 minutes away. So that right there just is making it very possible for us to make some of the efforts that we are trying to make, which is to be that sort of REIT capable presence in the town.
Yep. Now, one of the other really interesting pieces of data that we've learned about this market and self-storage is there's also no new self-storage construction planned for at least 3 years. Correct, Bryce?
That is correct.
That's as far out as we can see, but that just allows us to really sink our teeth into this market, or roots, however you want to say it, but really establish ourselves here.
Bro, Chris?
Yes,
Where's like your stuff?
right here in the front.
Right here?
All right. So that is we've made it through, and look at that. We're here before 6:25. So I'm going to look in the chat now, see if we have any questions. We've got lots of AI assistants. Okay, we mentioned raising rental rates for the units. Within the first 2 years, you'll expect to be below your competitors. What value add will you do to the property over the 3 to 5 year term? Okay, this is a great question because one of the great opportunities this property presents to us is to do what with this facility, Bryce?
So we plan on potentially making this a smart facility. What that means is effectively making it to where it's kind of like the Echo thermostat or anything else that a modern person is able to have at their fingertips, and just being able to access storage from your iPhone half a mile away or half a country away, and just being able to increase that compatibility with modern tech will allow us to put a further foothold into this as a stronger competitor than those around us.
Yeah. And it's set up nice for this too, because this is already a remotely run facility. And so the next question, I'm going to kind of combine these. So next question, and I'm going to come back to this first one from Ryan. How are you going to increase occupancy rate from where it is now? And what gives you the confidence that you'll be able to increase occupancy at the same time while increasing the rental rate? Okay. So let me tell you about the guys selling this property. Okay, KO is they're a strong organization. How many total properties do they have, Bryce?
Last I checked, it was around 145.
Yeah, they have about 145 storage properties. They're based out of Minnesota. And because this has been a remotely run property, um, when they first acquired it, they had a guy named Reggie, and Reggie was full time, and he did the sales part of it. He did the clean outs. And today, what Reggie does is he's part time. He gets a printout in the morning of who's moved out, and he goes and just makes sure the unit's ready for the next person. So KO has not had any real boots on the ground, I guess, in a little over a year, really. And you have to have that. Even though we can have a fully smart facility, you've got to have real people that can close the sale, because that's how storage works. When somebody calls, we don't need to send them to a call center that doesn't sound like it's in Texas. Okay, that's probably the nicest way to say it. The property management group who we have selected to run this property for us, we've got a great relationship with. They're called Right Move Storage. They have accelerated our business plan 30 miles down the road by 3 years now. Oh, sorry, 2 years. So we're really confident in. Plus, Boring Co's owned and operated an advertising agency for 20 years as well. So we know how to market self-storage. We know how to get the right management in there that can set the rates and follow the market, get people in. Because think about it, when you move and you put all that stuff in there, what you don't want to do after you get your first month half off or free or whatever it is go move that somewhere else. That's work. So they know how to get them in and then get their rates up. Bryce, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I want to thank Jacob Teal here because he kind of hit it right on the head. We are going to be trading a little bit of the physical occupancy to hit the economic that we want. We hope that that doesn't go too far down, and we hope that we can actually, achieve higher numbers than what we are suggesting right now. But we are starting out at around 90%, and we're planning on dropping about 6% of physical and hopefully gaining quite a bit of the economic.
Yeah, one thing that we learned in our due diligence, which is complete, is that tenants who are on auto pay, they get regular rent increases. It's kind of like clockwork. But there's a lot of old tenants who, make payment by check or whatever. They don't get rental increases. They've got the same rates that they had, 5 years ago. We're going to fix that. And so sometimes part of, seeing the occupancy drop is getting rid of low paying tenants and replacing them with ones who are paying market. All right, what other questions do we have here?
So we have one from, I'm probably going to butcher this, Afiyong. You mentioned raising rental rates for the units within the first 2 years.
We covered that one already.
Oh, we did? Okay, sorry.
No.
Okay. Then Jacob, back again. Walk me through the actual process here. Purchase price is 6.45. You're raising the 2.5 for the down payments, so 35 to 40% down. It said not preferred returns, so it's a return based on equity split. How is the actual equity split up? What percentage of the deal is going to investors versus going to the GPs? It looks like a good investment from a GP standpoint, but could you add clarity to the LP and actual return structure? So it is very simple. It is 80-20 split straight down every which way. So if there is cash flow, it's split 80-20. If there is some sort of refi, it's going to be split 80-20. If it is sold, it's going to be 80-20. So that's how it's going to work out. There is no pref. That is not common in self-storage. So it's not something that we've had to offer on any of our properties so far.
Yeah, and the reason why we done is because we offered something even better called cash flow. So, there's a lot of deals out there that give a pref, but then they don't make any money for years. So how good is the pref if you're not making any money? Do we have any other questions? For those that came on late, this was recorded, so we'll just send that out to you. Or feel free to get with the person who invited you. They'll be able to get it to you as well if you don't have that. Yeah, 8% goes to the limited partners. That's correct.
I'm able to ask questions or
Yeah, that's a good question.
yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to jump in. Yeah, I recognize you from the Tim My social media
Oh, yeah,
WhatsApp group. Yeah, so
that's funny.
I went to that capital raising event there last. When
Brian,
was it?
Brian Plumer invited me. He's the one that got me there.
Yeah, and then Matthew posted it in the Grant Cardone chat, so that's how I got in here. But yeah, I mean, the more I learn about multifamily and all that, the more I'm res I'm resonating more towards storage units, just because it just seems simpler to manage. So it's just captures my attention. But obviously, because I don't see the financials or anything, I don't really have much to say other than I just wanted to introduce myself.
Yeah, we'd love to go through that with you. So, and if anybody wants a deep dive one-on-one, we're more than happy to do that. This is, there's never any pressure on this. Okay, folks. So it's got to be right for you. I'm going to tell you why I love self-storage. Okay. There's no tenants. There's no termites. There's no toilets. There's no trouble, right? There's no people come in, it's a luxury product. They don't need it. The reason why they have it is because they either have too much stuff or they're operating a business, contractors storing stuff there, right? So it's a luxury product. You're not dealing with somebody's livelihood. If you need to, if they don't pay their bill, we can start the eviction process right away. There's just so many things that make it easier to operate and maneuver and create good income. So we're more than happy to take a deep dive on all that with anyone here. We'd love to do that. I encourage you to do that, especially if you have not invested in self-storage before. It might be worthwhile just getting a little bit more education on the asset class itself. And I'm more than happy to provide some resources on that as well.
And so we have one more question from Jacob. So the plan seems the deal can profit $6 million at year 5 refi. What NOI do you plan on hitting at year 5 to justify doubling the value? Better question, what's your target value refi? I am sorry if I made it seem like that was the goal here. We are planning on selling this at year 5. The target value for that is going to be, sorry, I'm just looking at the spreadsheet, about $10.5 million. So we're going to be raising the value by about $4 million. And that is also factoring in, we're going to be selling this at a cap rate that is about 2 percentage points lower than we're buying it. And the reason why is just because we can make the numbers work at that. So right now, the DFW area is selling at cap rates of around low 6s to high 5s, and we're projecting an exit cap rate of 8%. This is one of the few instances where I'm just going to say we've been very conservative, and we could absolutely make it more aggressive. But I really don't like those terms. Specifically, I think conservative gets thrown away just as a buzzword too often. But we were able to make it work at 8%, so that's what we're choosing.
I want to thank you all for the great questions tonight. And if there's any more, we'd love to stay on and answer them for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious as far as like what are you using the expense shows as to what is on their balance sheet already, or you have a projected expense ratio?
So we have based some of it based off of what they have. Stuff like the person that comes by, I believe his name is Derek. We're
Reggie.
going to be paying slightly more than what they're paying, or at least that's what we have in the numbers. In general, what we did in the first year is increase expenses by around 5 to 10% across the board, with some points like with property taxes going up by 20%. And that's just because we think that it's better to be, erring on the side of caution on a few of those things. Now, others are pretty easy. Like, we have a pretty consistent telephone bill that we know we can work with. So we're going to keep it roughly the same. We know how much trash is going to be to remove. And we have our own quotes for insurance. So it's a little bit of a mix of both. We've done a lot of work at the start here already. And we do feel like we have a very good idea of where expenses are going to be right out the gate.
Okay, yeah, I had underwritten a deal. There was a storage unit down here in South Texas that I looked at, and they were operating at a 40% expense ratio, but I didn't know if that was like a standard or not, because I never really have been in storage units.
Yeah, I would say storage can be it's so different one way or another. I would say in general, expense ratios tend to be lower than multifamily, just because there's not as many things that can happen, and you don't have to employ as many people. But the big thing is that where multifamily seems to be operating around 45%, give or take, on the expense ratio, self storage I think is closer to 30 most of the time. As we mentioned earlier, we're starting at around 37. So we are anticipating not being very efficient with expenses out the gate, but slowly creeping back to a better level. And realistically, I think we probably, like I said, maybe overshot how much expenses are going to be out the gate. And we could potentially get that number tighter than what we have projected.
Cool. I know some of the tips and tricks that they're using is like the asset management fee. Let's say if it's like 3.5%, they're only putting 2.5 above the line, and then they're adding they're moving that 1% below the line, so that their evaluation goes up. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And picking the numbers, but because I haven't seen the financials, I don't really. And I guess it could get sad, right? But I don't know. I love doing this stuff, so I'm here to learn, I'm here to connect, and maybe hop onto a deal.
All right.
So,
Yeah, I'm liking your questions.
Yeah.
I will say there is no asset management fee here. There is a property management fee that is going to be going to our property managers, Rightmove Storage. And we actually have them on for a slightly less than market rate, just because of our relationship with them that we have, which, huge plus. Those half percentage points do add up. But the asset management fee is not something you typically see in storage, kind of like you don't see a pref in storage very often. So we are also not going to be implementing an asset management fee, because the cash flow is good enough to hold it on its own.
Yeah, so we had a couple of questions from Jacob. How many GPs are in this? We have 5 total groups. What are you paying for management? It's going to be 4.5%, because we have relationship with Rightmove Storage and they're managing other facilities for us. We get an automatic discount, I guess you could say, for that. So that's nice. And the other thing is, well, it's just not that going to be that hard to manage. Especially if we do the smart conversion, and it's just kind of what people expect in that area. Plus the demographics being a higher income, lower age than the national average really sets it up for that. We've studied other smart facilities in the area, and their occupancies are all very nice. They're doing very well. They're really not buyable because they're maxing everything out almost.
So,
Time f-
Jacob, to answer your question, the conversion cost is in the raise. It's part of the CapEx that we'll be doing. There's also, we have around $265,000 in CapEx that we're planning on doing. A good portion of that is the smart facility upgrades. Another part is some deferred maintenance that we need to take care of. And then others are just things to improve visibility, improve the user experience while they're on site, and get that sense of safety for both them and their items. So we're going to be implementing some security measures as well.
Oh. As far as time frame, I'm putting the deal together and expectation to close. We expect to close May 11th, I believe is the close date, right?
That's the
Yeah.
target.
Yeah. Dee Dee has jumped on with us. She's can answer. When are our docs going to be ready and people can go into the portal?
I've been working with Cashflow Portal today. I'm hoping by the end of the week, and we'll have all the docs and all of the things in the portal. Cashflow Portal is super easy to use. I'm sure most of you guys have used it before if you haven't. The only time it can be tricky is if you have a SD, a self-directed IRA. Sometimes all those portals can be a little tricky, not because of the portal, but because of the IRA group that you're using. So, yeah, we have not set this up for a tick. That doesn't mean that we can't. It would have to really be worth it, Jacob, to do a tick because those are pricey. But yeah, we could definitely talk
I
to you
think
about
Jacob wants to come in for that full 2.5.
All right.
that. Yeah, well then we could definitely do that. What's pricey is we have to do a completely different. It's a different setup. Have you ever done one before? A take on a deal? Where is he? I thought I was talking to him. So we change everything about how we've done it to the deal already. So you come in as kind of an intermediary. So you're right there with like the GPs, the LPs, and the person that has the 1031. So you're right there in the same line as that. You're not an LP and you're not a GP. You're kind of something all by yourself. And so because of that, we have to redo most of our docs to do that, which means that's how I love that. Well then let's chat about it. I'm sure we can figure it out. Because it is a good deal. I can see why somebody would want to do a 1031 into it. So we'll chat about that for sure. Let's get together on that.
Yeah, I mean we're very well ahead of the process here because we have worked on this so long. That's why we don't have docs yet, but we did want to present the opportunity. We've got experience with these storage deals where the full raise happens, and we've done a bigger one than this, like over a weekend, it's gone. So if you are interested in this, I really do want to encourage you to get with the person who invited you. If you want to do a deep dive so that you can see if you want to move forward on it, because this one has the potential to move pretty quick, we feel like.
And also, if you ever want just a little refresh on everything we talked about here, I think my dad mentioned it earlier. We did do a little bit of a video presentation for this, and it covers everything we covered here tonight. So that's always a good watch. And you can also see my dad and I doing some little hokey cornball acting. So you can tell if it's also just really bad.
I cut that out. Sorry, Bryce. That got edited out. The hokey acting's gone. You don't get to see.
Man.
But if you do a 1031 for the full amount, we'll Hokiak for about 2 hours. It's over. All right, folks. Minimum investment and is $100,000, and you do need to be accredited for this deal. Cash flow portal will verify that when you submit everything. Okay, you're welcome. Do we have any other questions before we hop off? Well, again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for the great questions and your time this evening. We appreciate you being here and would love to work with you in self-storage in Cleburne. So look forward to continuing the conversation this week. Y'all have a great night.
Bye, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Bye, everybody.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and
10X.
Thanks.